The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. The OCTA Research Group says COVID-19 cases in Metro Manila could drop to pre-surge levels by the end of the month. That is if the current downward trend continues. OCTA's Professor Guido David explained that the actual numbers being reported have begun to fall well below the group's projections in late January. On Saturday, Metro Manila made up just 877 of more than 7,600 cases nationwide. David added that he expects a further decrease in the number of cases across the country, which could reach just around 6,000 to 7,000 today. Meanwhile, the National Police reports that areas under granular lockdown nationwide have decreased to around 480. In yesterday's Laging Handa briefing, PNP spokesperson Jean Fajardo said the Cordilleras logged the most number of areas under lockdown with 390, followed by the Cagayan Valley with 81. Fajardo also said that majority of quarantine violators are from NCR.
Nasa 10,000 na po ang kabuuan nationwide at karamihan po dyan, ma'am, ay doon sa NCR po, ma'am. Nasa almost 12,000 na po, ma'am, ang nawarningan at almost 3,600 na po, ma'am, ang nagbayad po ng fine.
Finance Secretary Carlos Dominguez says there are two main drivers for the increase in the country's inflation rate. Let's watch this.
Let's take a look at inflation. As that headline crossed earlier today, I'm just wondering, do you see at all the possibility of inflation re-emerging as a threat to the Philippine economy?
Well, there are sources of inflation last year, and we believe for the coming year are really two sources. One is food inflation, and what drove our inflation rate last year was the price of pork. We were hit by African swine fever, and actually what the government did was we opened up the imports of pork, and that mitigated the rise of prices of pork, and that's why we have a lower inflation rate for January. However, we're looking at the prices of fuel and watching it very carefully, and we are anticipating the softening of fuel prices, and I think that will be good for our inflation outlook.
Inflation continues the biggest worry for central banks around the world. The Fed getting ready for a lift-off. We saw the BOE raising rates yet again. I'm just wondering, given expectations of tighter financial conditions, can the Philippines remain or keep its loose monetary policy?
Well, at the moment, as we have announced, the Philippine government has actually reduced its debt from our central bank from 500 billion pesos to 300 billion, and that's about 5.9 billion US dollars, and we expect to pay it by the end of this year. Of course, we are watching very carefully the trends of interest rates around the world. And we do, however, are confident that we can handle some increase in interest rates since our interest rate payments as a percentage of our GDP are quite a bit lower than those of our rating peers, especially our neighbors in ASEAN.
You talked about how you are comfortable with some increase in interest rates. What might that level be?
I'm not going to predict that, but essentially, we do anticipate tightening and rate increases, and we are not that worried unless, of course, they start spiking abroad. But I think that's not likely.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. The camp of presidential aspirant Bongbong Marcos reacts to Vice President Leni Robredo's remarks in her interview with host Corina Sanchez. In a statement, Marcos spokesperson Attorney Vic Rodriguez said they respect Robredo's views no matter how, quote, absurd it was. The camp added that the vice president further proved that she is only running for president to damage Marcos's reputation and not for public service. Rodriguez said they will continue to go against negative campaigning. This came in response to Robredo's interview where she highlighted that Marcos makes a mockery of the people by blatantly lying to them, and that he is as guilty as his father, late dictator Ferdinand Marcos Sr., for all the crimes he has committed against the Filipinos.
Ako, anyone na minimake niya yung mockery, yung paniniwala ng tao na handang magsinungaling para lang ma-achieve yung kanyang ambisyon, yung kanyang greed, ay kailangan natin labanan. At hindi lang ako dapat yung lumalaban doon.
Let's now take a quick look at today's other top stories. A number of bar takers have been disqualified in this year's exams for allegedly violating the honor code while taking the test. The Supreme Court says some deliberately entered testing centers without disclosing that they had previously tested for COVID-19. There were also those who smuggled mobile phones inside examination rooms. Unioil Philippines says oil companies in the country are expected to raise pump prices again for the 6th straight week. On Tuesday, diesel is set to increase by up to 1 peso and 20 centavos per liter, while a 1 peso and 10 centavo hike is expected for gasoline. And Pinay golfer Bianca Pagdanganan finishes 41st in the recently concluded LPGA Drive On Championship. Pagdanganan had come back from a slow start, but mishaps on holes number 13 and 15 streamlined her bid. Nonetheless, Pagdanganan will look to improve even further as the tour takes a month-long break. Now, for more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World Online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now, www.signalplay.com, and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.